How's it going, everybody? It's Part of Fame, and we are back with another FPL live stream here on Twitch. It is the preview show, but it's also the deadline show as well. An actual later deadline on Saturday this week. A bit of an interesting one. Not the most exciting games on Saturday, but a lot of exciting games, a lot of key ties on Sunday that we get to look forward to as well. Although we will have some FPL assets in play on Saturday, but all the focus is on, as the title of the stream says, the North London Derby. Bukayo Saka, as you can see over my left-hand shoulder, is going to be involved in that. Hopefully, he's in my FPL team, and I have to deal with Martinelli, who is currently flagged at the moment, as well as potential other issues that might be involved in my team. But the North London Derby, both teams are playing quite well. Arsenal, maybe, probably they say the fans probably agree that they could play better, but Tottenham are currently flying at the moment, and Spurs have not won at the Emirates or at Arsenal Stadium in the Premier League, I believe, since like 1992 or something like that. It's been a long time, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that one is going to go down. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And as per usual, we will talk about the normal stuff. We'll talk about our predictions, differential picks, all that sort of stuff, and we'll go through what transfers I'm potentially looking at the moment. I was potentially priced out of one that I could have gone for, but we will check those out. And also, I've added that at the very top. I can't go any further, but that shows you when the basically when it was streamed, basically, because I've had a lot of people saying on the VODs and stuff like, oh, you're not interacting or something like that. Well, I am. I'm just in the chat rather than on the actual VOD itself. But this one's going to be different. This one's just going to go straight onto YouTube. It's not going to be premiered. But for premiered ones, now you know when it was. So I'm actually going to move it across a couple. Center it up a little bit. So I'll just keep that date there. Make it easier for those. And you can see it even if I scroll down and stuff like that. It's still there as a little text thing. Just so you have an idea when it was. So let's see how the team did in game week 5. So fresh off the international break, another red arrow, unfortunately. 515k, we dropped about 120, 130k plays, something like that. I went from 300s to the 500s, so around that margin, which is a bit unfortunate. We did pick Turner in goal over Johnson, so we got 1 point on that advantage there. Ben Chilwell was benched in his game. Came on and got booked, so he got 0 points, which is a bit unfortunate. Trippier's 8 points was definitely nice to see, although Sven Botman got himself 9 points, which is a bit unfortunate, so I could have paid a lot less for Newcastle defender, but I like Trippier going forward. Botman's still not out of the picture as of yet, especially if Chilwell decides he wants to be basically missing in action once again. Although he's believed to have a bit of a knock, but again, he seems to be fighting for the left wing spot, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. William Saliba came off our bench. We originally played Estupinian on our bench. We had Saliba first sub, so he came in for us, which was quite nice. We needed those 6 points. So pretty good on the defensive side of things with Chilwell 0. Martinelli, just the 1 point. He scored, had it disallowed, and was injured on the play. So what can you do? Raheem Sterling kept a clean sheet, but got booked. I'll throw Jackson in there. He's gone. He now has had 4 yellow cards, so if he gets 1 more yellow card, he will be suspended for an additional game. I believe Anthony Gordon is also on that list of 4 yellow cards as well, and you're going to see a lot more players being suspended for yellow cards because referees are dishing them out left, right, and center for things that are some harsher than others, but I understand the sentiment because they want to stop time wasting and that sort of stuff, which makes a whole lot of sense. But then you have ones where it's like, I mean, I've seen a couple goalkeepers where there's been like 2 balls on the pitch where they haven't been able to get, like, no one's given them the ball to basically kick, and they've been booked for time wasting and stuff like that, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. But anyway, it is what it is. Reffing and VAR, mainly the refs running the VAR booth as well as the refs on field are the ones making the VAR system look like it's basically pointless, even though it's just a replay system. just the people running it that don't know how to use it. But we're not going to go on a rant like that today. Phil Foden, just 2 points. Same with Mitoma. Saka getting himself 6 points, which is quite nice. I believe that was his first return. No, he had an assist last week and a goal the week before. Hasn't really exploded yet, has Saka. I mean, he got the 10 points in game week 1, but hasn't really got that, 2 goals and an assist type game in him as of yet. We mentioned Jackson at 1 point, and then Haaland was the better captain to go over than Heung-min Son. Erling Haaland's XG, for those that were wondering, his expected goal involvement was 2.59 versus West Ham. If you captain Son, you got away with one. Is all I'm going to say. You got away with one. Erling Haaland should have scored about 25, by the sounds of it. I mean, some of the chances I saw him miss was like, I'm just like, pfft. And then the one he scored was like, oh yeah, I expect him to score that. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. If you captain Son and you saw what Haaland and watched the Man City game, you would have been like, oh my goodness me. You would have been terrified. Because you would have, I believe was Man City playing at the same time as Spurs, or did Spurs play earlier? I can't remember, actually. I think, yeah, all of these games, I think, were at the same time. So, yeah, you would have been, if you went back and watched those highlights, you'd have been like, how does he not come away with at least 3 goals? So, again, got away with one there. I mean, 2.59 XGI. What? Like, that's mental. Anyway. And then on the bench, Estupinian, like we said, he didn't play. Wasn't in the squad at all. Presumably a long flight back from South America during the international break. João Pedro got 7 points, which is interesting. He gets points when he's on my bench, which is unfortunate. And then Anderson, who we benched third on the list over Saliba, who we benched first. And Saliba came in and did well. So we take those. A little bit of jam, but again, I would expect a lot of people to have gotten a defender off their bench. We just happened to get one that was playing Everton away. Because we would have played Chilwell for sure, because Chilwell was playing Bournemouth. We were playing Trippier because he had a home fixture, and that's just Newcastle. And then Estupinian had Man United, which we knew he could have potentially gotten something there. But yeah, overall 42 points, 5.74 million game week rank, not great. Small red arrow, but we've had red arrows all season so far. We're kind of used to it at this point. Hopefully, we can get a green at some point. And hopefully we can do that after we go through our predictions and differential picks, because we have some transfers to make. I have 2 free transfers this week, and we will see what we can and cannot do. Predictions for last week. Let me bring up the tweet. We can run through these pretty quickly. Where's prediction tweet? There it is on the board for you. What did we do last week? Well, last week we got 7 points. And 2 out of 5 on the differentials. That's slightly below average. So this week, hopefully, we can do a bit better than that. We shall see. Keep a little note of it. Let's take a look at it at the end of the season, basically. Let's take a look at our predictions. So Liverpool Wolves, we got that exactly right. That was the early kickoff. 3-1. So we get 3 points if you get the exact score right. If you got the result right, you get 1 point. And if you get the result wrong, you get no points. Aston Villa Crystal Palace predicted 2-1, ended up being 3-1. Bit of a dodgy decision on the penalty, I will admit. Very dodgy. But at the end of the day, Villa probably were going to get the win anyway. Palace were kind of holding out, and they got Gahey back in the team, so they should be a bit more solid defensively. But 1 point there. Fulham and Luton, we predicted 2-1, ended up being 1-0. Pretty comfortable in the end for Fulham. It was a very scrappy goal that they scored. Vinicius kind of tapped in kind of a Kaminsky's kind of spill, which he definitely wasn't involved in the good things that happened this weekend. Conceding a very, very unfortunate goal. How many saves did he end up making? Just the one. So yeah, Fulham, I mean, I guess they I mean, from just the saves, I would say, could say it's an even game, but at the end of the day, who knows? Let me actually check the stats on that. Fulham. Fulham v Luton Town. Oh yeah, the possession was wide open, but the shots were actually quite even, to be honest. Fulham had a large majority of the ball, 78% possession, which is pretty hefty. So pretty comfortable in the end. We got 1 point for that. Manchester United versus Brighton. We predicted 2-2, being very hopeful. And a big 3-1, so we got that one wrong. Brighton were definitely fully deserved winners in that one. Yeah, I mean, Brighton are just a scary team. We'll see how Europe affects them, but they've been doing quite well. Spurs and Sheffield United. A late comeback by Spurs. No clean sheet for them. No Pedro Porro returns. However, Spurs with a super dramatic comeback. Spurred on by Richarlison, who everyone got rid of. Which is a bit of an interesting one. So, and they have Arsenal to face this week in the North London Derby. Going to be a very exciting match. Looking forward to that one. It's a bit criminal that they have it on at the same time as Brighton versus Bournemouth, which is actually an interesting game. It's going to be two attacking teams. Chelsea Villa should be an interesting one as well. And Liverpool West Ham should also be an interesting game as well. It's a shame that they have all of those good games on at the same time. I mean, like, Luton Wolves, is anyone really going to watch that? Not really. Even Brentford Everton, to be honest, isn't going to be that exciting. It'd be more exciting if Neil Maupay was able to play for Brentford, because I would at least give it a little bit of a storyline. But apart from that, but whatever. TV rights and that. So we got the point for predicting a Spurs win. Man City predicted 2-1 over West Ham, ended up being 3-1. Alvarez doing more bits in that one, and we might have to just bite the bullet and bring him in this week. I believe he's already gone up 2 or 3 times since the international break started, and we haven't got him yet, so we might need to do that. Went up annoyingly last night, and we'll show that as to why that could have been quite annoying for us with our 2 free transfers. But we've got the 1 point there. Newcastle Brentford predicted 2-1 and being 1-0. Callum Wilson penalty. Again, a bit dubious, although Flecken should be kind of running into Wilson like that. So 1 point there. So far, only one result wrong, and it was United, funnily enough, which you would think I'd be good at because it's the team I follow the most. Bournemouth Chelsea. Okay, there we go. We got one wrong. We always get Chelsea wrong, apparently, now. Predicted 3-1, ended up being just a boring 0-0. Arsenal 3, Everton 0, ended up being 1-0 through Leandro Trossard's well-taken goal. So 1 point there. And then we got the correct score on Monday night. 1-1 between Forest and Burnley. That was pretty much nailed on, wasn't it? So we got 3 points for that one. That was a Callum Hudson-Odoi goal in that one. Newly signed for £3 million. It's amazing. They signed a Chelsea player for £3 million, and Mikhail Mudryk is a lot more than that and hasn't scored yet. There is a mark on my light, and it is annoying me, but it won't come off, so we're going to have to leave it. So we got one of our differentials correct, which is nice. Unfortunately, Gibbs White did not get a return. So 1 out of 5 on the clean sheet and differential. Picks total points is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 points. I believe that is a season high best, tied with Game Week 3. We're doing pretty good on the predictions. So it turns out anything I say about Chelsea United, probably wrong. 12 points, 1 out of 5 on the differentials. Although in that 1 week that I had 12 points in Game Week 3, I had 5 out of 5 on the differential picks, which is pretty good. So let's move that tweet out of the way and move into the predictions for this week. Let's move this down. Bring up the old notepad. There we go. It's on the screen for us. I predict Crystal Palace will win 2-1 over Fulham. Fulham struggled to score goals. Palace have been quite good defensively. I think Palace will probably concede. It may be being a bit of a pessimist, I guess, having Johnston in goal. But I think Palace will win this one quite comfortably. Luton Wolves, I think both teams have struggled this season. Luton probably more so, being a newly promoted team. Wolves with the expectation that they should be better than what they are. I just think it's just going to end in some type of draw. I've gone 1-1, but it could easily just be 0-0 as well. Man City Forest, I think City will be winning this comfortably and concede some goal on the break later on in the game to something random. But City will be in full control of this game. I expect Alvarez, Haaland, Foden, Doku, all these sorts of players to be involved. Jack Grealish was supposed to be apparently just barely on the bench, maybe, and that potentially looks like he could be involved quite heavily, actually. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Bernardo Silva is out for a week, so City still have their few share of injuries at the moment. Kovacic is still out, as well as De Bruyne. So likelihood is Nunez will be alongside Rodri, but Alvarez and Foden, Haaland, I expect all to play, and most likely Doku or Grealish will get the nod on the left. Or Foden could play on the left and Doku could play on the right as well. I mean, Doku's good enough apparently to play on both wings, which is pretty interesting. I don't know what footed he is. Let's take a look at that, actually. Jeremy Doku of Belgium. Transfer marked. Let's see what foot he is. Jeremy Doku. He is a right-sided forward. The Belgian national team. He is Belgian Ghanaian citizenship. He is right-footed. Okay, so I guess cutting in on his right foot on the left-hand side is good. But it says his main position is right wing. He's only 21. But he also can play on the other wing too. So there we go. How much did City buy him for? City bought him for 60 million euros, and his market value was less than half that. So City overpaid for him a little bit, but he looks to be quite good. So, and I expect him to be good. They haven't had a player that's been as direct as him since Leroy Sané, basically. And I think they needed that. They need that. Because with Haaland getting all this attention, if they just have someone who can literally beat everyone in a 1v1, then, I mean, they're just going to be in on goal every time he takes the dribble, really. That just makes the most sense to me. Moving into Brentford versus Everton, I mean, this is just going to be quite comfortable. Don't expect Everton to score. Even without Rico Henry, Brentford are going to press them. They're going to put it on Everton. Vissa and Sade, as well as Mbeumo, make up the front three most likely. And I think Brentford will be in control, pretty much being a home game. Everton are really up against it, and they need some points badly. Otherwise, they're going to be staring relegation in the face much quicker than what they were last season. Burnley, Manchester United have just given the edge to United, so expect a Burnley win. But I think United will probably concede, although Varane might be fit, according to Ten Hag. Varane, Amrabat, and Mason Mount are all close, and United need midfielders desperately because Eriksen alongside Casemiro is not working. No energy in that midfield at all, and Casemiro is being basically left out on an island on his own. But I think United could definitely win this one. Arsenal and Spurs, the North London derby. This is a very interesting matchup. I've gone with 2-1 Arsenal, and that's just because of reputation. And how it's played out in the past at the Emirates. If this had been in White Hart Lane, I might have given Spurs the advantage, but I think it's going to be quite close. I almost was tempted to go with a 2-2, but I just shaded to Arsenal. I think it's more favorable for me to predict them as winners in this one, although not by much. I think Spurs are definitely going to go to the Emirates and say, well, we can beat you, so we're going to try to do that. And whether Arsenal can react to that is a wait and see. Because I don't think anyone's gone to the Emirates this season and kind of just put it on Arsenal from minute 1 to minute 90. And I think Spurs can definitely do that. So we'll have to wait and see how that one is going to pan out. Because with United in Gameweek 4, United did for a certain period at the beginning of the game, but then kind of laid off it for the rest of it. Whereas Spurs, I think from minute 1 to minute 90, it's going to be gung-ho, it's going to be in your face, it's going to be all-out attack, basically. So there might be a lot more goals than 2 goals to 1 in that one. Brighton versus Bournemouth, again, pretty straightforward. Maybe Bournemouth get a goal, but I think Brighton will win quite comfortably. I should probably have predicted just 3-1, to be honest, but we'll go with the clean sheet on this one. Chelsea Villa, it's hard to call between these two. I think Chelsea would definitely get a point in this one. I think Villa are quite good, but Watkins hasn't done it yet this season. But they do look like a very good attacking outlet. Diaby's fantastic. I just think it's hard to call. So I've just kind of sat on the fence and went 1-1. Liverpool v West Ham, I've gone 3-1. Liverpool's firepower is just too much for West Ham. It's going to be very similar to the Man City game. But West Ham will probably get a James Ward-Prowse assisted free kick or set piece or something. So I've given them that. And then lastly, Newcastle for Newcastle. Something disconnected as a USB. I don't know what it was, but apparently it did. Let me make sure my audio is still fine, because that can sometimes mess things up. Yeah, my audio is fine. No, I don't know what would have disconnected. I don't know. But before I had the voice meter, which basically allowed me to like split audio and do neat things with it, and it caused my audio to break a lot. So since I've got rid of it, it can work. So we'll see. Yeah, but I don't know what USB device disconnected. Maybe my controller or something. I don't know. I have a PlayStation 5 controller that connects to the computer too, for various games and stuff. But we shall see. Moving on to the clean sheet and differential picks. Let's move that, bring that up. I've gone with Newcastle for the clean sheet this week, with Fabian Schär as the defender. Only 3.4%, which is quite cheap, actually. Or quite low owned. I thought he'd be a lot higher. I guess because Botman's just such a good price, you can go for him. I've gone with Flecken in goal. I was shocked to see he was at 3.6%. I think it's almost nailed on for him to get a clean sheet this week. Although Calvert-Lewin might have something to say with that coming off the bench potentially, or from the starting lineup. Jeremy Doku, going with him, 1.4% owned, 6.5 million. Looks to be a very good asset potentially if he's playing game in, game out. Very explosive. And then I've gone with Rasmus Højlund, 3.9% for Manchester United. Scored versus Bayern Munich. Basically, if you give this guy chances, he looks like he's going to score. So, but that's been United's problem, is just giving players chances to score. So we'll have to wait and see on that. I'm very happy for him to see him score. And then he also had one disallowed in the opener, in the game that he played versus Brighton too, in his full season debut, because of the ball barely going out, basically. So yeah, that's the clean sheet and differential picks. I'm gonna copy these and I'm gonna put them over on Twitter now as we speak. If you're watching this over on YouTube, that's the VOD. It would have, or they'll already be out by now. So you will already have seen them on my Twitter predictions and differential picks, exclamation mark. We'll put the little graphic there. Boom. Boom. We can close out of that. Get rid of that. And then we can go to what the team looks like currently. So this is how we are currently set up at the moment. So we have Johnston over Turner in goal, with Fulham at home. We have a Stupinian at home to Bournemouth. Trippier away to Sheffield United. Ben Chilwell at home to Aston Villa. Karen Matoma in midfield at home to Bournemouth, with Phil Foden at home to Nottingham Forest. Martinelli, who's currently flagged and most likely going to be injured for the North London derby, at home to Tottenham. Saka with the same fixture. Raheem Sterling at home to Aston Villa. Nicholas Jackson currently still in the team at home to Aston Villa. And then Erling Haaland, no surprises there, at home to Nottingham Forest with the captain's armband. With Turner, João Pedro's first sub, Anderson, and Saliba as our benching order. let's take a look at FPL.team because we need to start planning some stuff. We got 0.8 million in the bank, as you can see here, and 2 free transfers. So we will take a look at that. This is FPL.team. If you haven't looked at it, it's a fantastic website. Make sure you go check it out. You can plan ahead, and it's great. So, Game Week 6. We might be wildcarding in between Game Week 8 and Game Week 9. That is a real possibility. So, we want to keep things somewhat short-termish, but we're still open to longer-term moves. But I think there's going to be no way for us to get Salah if we wanted him in Game Week 8/9 unless we wildcard. So, Johnston goes in goal for us. We have Stupinian in for Saliba. Saliba drops to third on the bench. Martinelli is the problem here with the injury, and we need to get Julian Alvarez. Now, there's multiple ways to get Julian Alvarez. One of them is to get rid of João Pedro and put him in the team, and then bench Martinelli or remove Martinelli for a different midfielder. One of those that I was personally considering would be Diaby. So let's take a look at what that would look like. So Julian Alvarez would come in for Martinelli. Martinelli would be removed. We would bring in Diaby. Those would be our 2 free transfers. We put Diaby first sub, and that's how we play it. Vice captaincy, I mean, doesn't really matter. I'll just put on Matoma. Who cares? We'll have 0.6 million in the bank. We go into Game Week 7. We'd hopefully Turner plays. If not, or if there's an inclination, we could do a goalkeeper transfer. Diaby has Brighton at home, so that's not the worst fixture in the world. So maybe, I mean, we wouldn't want to play Diaby and a Stupinian, so I think it's better to just play the Brighton boys and just have Diaby first sub. Diaby would be a much longer term pick coming in Game Week 8, maybe. So we would potentially run this team out with no transfers at all. We would definitely move Saliba up to second sub on the bench. If Chilwell or Jackson or whoever is suspended, then maybe we can make a transfer there. If Jackson was suspended for whatever reason, we could get rid of Nicholas Jackson and potentially bring in... we could bring in whoever we feel is a decent enough forward. Jackson can't go to Jesus. He can go to Rasmus Højlund, though, currently. He can go to Eddie Nketiah. He could also easily go down to Archer. So that would be one to kind of monitor. This is kind of a free transfer for us if we need it with 0.6 million in the bank. Again, Chilwell could be a bit of an issue. We'll have to wait and see on that one. That's like kind of the Game Week 7 is kind of the assess week. Game Week 8, we have Johnston at home to Nottingham Forest. We definitely play him there. Unless, again, we need to change the goalkeeper. Saliba would definitely not play. Anderson, we could play over Stupinian, but I think the attacking upside on Stupinian versus Liverpool, especially with their defense and how it's playing at the moment, would be quite good. If Jackson is suspended by them, which there's a very likely chance that he could be, we do have Diaby to come straight in for him. This could be a situation where we could do something interesting. So it might be a situation where we want to lessen the amount of players we have in the the match between Man City and Arsenal, and that might just be a situation where we can go get Son, and we can also get rid of Phil Foden and bring in James Maddison if we wanted to. We'd have to do that for a hit though. So maybe if Richarlison is kind of the one or is doing better, we can go for him as well if we think Richarlison is going to play up front. So that's something we can do. We can also get rid of, if I just undo just those two, if Jackson was suspended, again, we could get rid of him. We can go Rasmus Højlund, who has Brentford at home, which isn't a bad fixture. We could then also get rid of Saka and bring in Marcus Rashford. We could bench Phil Foden in this instance, or Matoma. I think either are definite options. Alvarez is certainly getting good preferential treatment at the moment, so one of those two we could put Højlund in, let's say Phil Foden, and run that team out there. And then on the other side of it, United has Sheffield United, again, pretty good. Brighton assets, not great. Chelsea assets, not great. Might need to wildcard out of a lot of them. in there as well. So that's one way to go for him. If we reset everything again, we'll have to put everything back to default here. Johnston in goal. Estupinian comes in for Saliba. João Pedro first sub on the bench. Another option that I considered initially was Jackson to Alvarez, Martinelli to Marcus Rashford. Now that's 0.1 million off, so we can't do that, unfortunately. What we could do is we could downgrade Saliba to Botman and keep him for longer term. That would cost for -4, but again, it'd be -4 for a defender that's not playing, which is unfortunate. Also, we could do is instead of going Rashford, we could just go Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno Fernandes, if we go back here and we go search for Rashford and we look at points, Rashford's got 21 points so far this season. He scored 1 goal and got 2 assists, but a lot of nothing kind of around it at the moment. His XGI has actually been quite high in the last 3 games, so he's definitely on the up, as it were. If we look at Bruno Fernandes, 19 points, just a couple points behind him. Got himself a goal and an assist, but 0.76 XG with a 1.1 XGI, 0.54 XGI. I mean, he's getting 0.76 XGI. Bruno Fernandes does have the numbers to back it up. Only 1 goal and 1 assist though thus far, so not much else apart from that 12-pointer. But Bruno Fernandes just needs a penalty and someone to actually nod the ball in, and he's going to get max bonus and crazy points. So that is definitely an option. He's also only 19.7% owned. A lot of people are going off him at the moment, and Rashford is at a lot more ownership than him at 33%. I'm taking a quick look at the potential price changes or estimated price changes. And if we take a look at, we check Martinelli, he looks to potentially be going down. Jackson could be going down as well. Rashford is not necessarily going to go down, but him and Fernandes are on their way down, which would be ideal. William Saliba is not going to go down, but he's not in good shape either, basically. So I think what we need to do is definitely get an Alvarez for sure. And if we did that by doing the Bruno Fernandes route, we can see what potentially that path looks like. So if we did that, I have Bruno Fernandes in there. Game week 7, Bruno Fernandes, Crystal Palace at home. We like that. The team wouldn't change apart from Turner going again in goal over Johnston. Again, this would be a week where we could kind of just chill and do nothing. Then game week 8, we could put Johnston in goal, assuming he hasn't lost his place. We could make 2 free transfers. And again, we could do something like if we wanted, Rashford versus Brentford at home, we could bring in Marcus Rashford. And then we can keep Phil Foden, or we can make a different transfer. Let's say Chilwell's lost his place or another goalkeeper. Again, we could do that. We can also do Rashford for Son. Or, sorry, it was Saka for Son. Saka for Son, and then Foden down to Richarlison or somebody else. We'd be 0.1 off. So unless we gain some value on Saka somehow. Saka's 8.7. He would need to go up twice, which I don't see happening, to be honest. But again, it is an option. Maybe we've gone from Johnston to Areola the previous week. I don't know why we would do that. I mean, West Ham do have Sheffield United, and we don't need him in game week 8. But that is an option that we could do, and we'd have a little bit left over. So if it was Johnston for Areola that we did end up doing, now he could be 0.1 million more, by the way, because he might be going up price tonight. And then we could do Saka to Son. We do have the funds to do that, and maybe this is a captain angle for Son. And then we just kind of ride the City attack and hope that they just rip Arsenal to shreds type thing. That's an option. And then on the other side of the wild card, up Bruno Fernandes with Sheffield United. City with all the home fixtures versus Brighton. Chelsea fixtures not great though, so the team would need some restructuring. We'll be looking to potentially get some more Spurs players, some Liverpool, these sorts of things. So the Alvarez Fernandes thing has crossed my mind. I need to see something from United, to be honest. Being a United fan, I get really, really having United assets definitely makes me more polarized to kind of scrutinize them much more, basically. I don't like having United assets in my team. Now, if we're playing well and, winning the league or whatever, then obviously then cool. But United's not doing that, so we all know that. That's why you looked at 3 City players. So, what I think we're going to end up doing is I want to find a way to see if I can keep Jackson in there, because I think he could I want to keep him until it could be like another Diego what was his name? Not Diego Carlos. A striker that played for Chelsea. Can't remember his name. What was his name? Chelsea strikers. I'm blanking on his name. Diego Costa. That was close. Diego Costa, where he sits on 4 yellow cards and has ridiculously good underlying numbers. I mean, if you look at his underlying numbers, XGI 1.33, no returns. 0.89, got a return. 0.83, didn't get a return. 0.54, sorry, didn't get a return. I mean, he's going to get something at some point. If he gets suspended, he gets suspended. I mean, it's whatever. So I think what we can do is we can do João Pedro to Alvarez. We can then play Alvarez over Martinelli. And then get rid of Martinelli for Diaby. Because if Martinelli does go down in price, and Diaby's at 6.6, we can actually get Martinelli back if we wanted to for the Bournemouth away game, if he was available to do so. And then if we wanted to, we could just wildcard. So I think that's probably what we're going to end up doing. Again, not entirely sure. But that's kind of the idea at the moment. Again, before we put Diaby up here, Anderson there. Going to Gameweek 7. Potentially could play Diaby again if Jackson's suspended. It's just an easy take Jackson out, put Diaby in type thing. And look to save a transfer if we can. Because Jackson will probably come back in versus Burnley. We like that. We probably play Jackson over probably Foden, to be honest. That'd be probably fine for us. But we'd have 2 free transfers to kind of, if we wanted to get rid of Alvarez, if we wanted to like do something crazy like, hey, look, Liverpool have Brighton away, not the best fixture, but we could bring in Salah and captain him, maybe. Again, United have Brentford at home. It's pretty good as a fixture. They're definitely options. So again, Son in midfield, we can get rid of Saka. We think that Son's going to be good. Throw him in there. Brentford have United. So Mbeumo is going to score versus United. So we might bring in Mbeumo too. But yeah, I think that's probably what we're going to end up doing. So basically the lineup will end up being Johnson in goal, Estupinian, Trippier, Chilwell, Mitoma, Foden, Saka, Sterling, Haaland, Jackson, and Alvarez, with newly signed player Diaby on the bench, with Anderson and Saliba behind him. So basically these 2 positions will swap like this. João Pedro will become Alvarez, And Martinelli will become Diaby. So that's pretty much what we're going to do for that, most likely. So let's move those back. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this stream. So yeah, let's move over to the big screen. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, favorite, follow, comment, subscribe. You know, all the good stuff. PilotFame226 on all platforms. We're doing a stream a week. Just been busy at the moment, really. Stream a week. We definitely do one every week. Might do it. I don't think we're gonna do the deadline streams on the Saturday. We're doing the Friday evenings. Just better for us. The time kind of sucks for my time zone. Definitely not doing one next weekend. Got a lot of stuff going on. So we'll do it on the Friday, or Thursday, depending. Again, there's midweek fixtures, so we'll wait for those as well. And we'll see where we leave off. I will post my team over on Twitter as I normally do. That'll definitely be before the deadline. What I'll probably do is, the deadline is, what time is it my time? It is, so it's 3 o'clock UK time is the kickoff, which is 1:30 UK time. Okay, so, and that's the deadline for that. All right, so I need to, yeah, you'll probably see my team. You'll probably see my team before the night is out EST time, for sure. Or I'll schedule it to come out as basically the deadline hits or something like that. But most likely we're gonna go with Diaby and Alvarez in for João Pedro and Martinelli. So thank you all for watching, and until next one, take care.